how does the reactive mechanism works and how the proactive mechanism works. Because before we reach to the predictive, we have to have this understanding that how are we handling things and how measure. Proactive is always a measure. So how these two differ, which one is better, we understand that. So let's say if there is a problem happens, in a reactive method, we normally do the manual troubleshooting because you have set a threshold. Let's say CPU goes to 90% and it should trigger an alarm that, okay, CPU is running on high load above 90%. Alarm triggers, creates a ticket. You send a person to go ahead and take a look at it to take some action. It's pretty much reactive and manual. In these reactive and manual situation, your data is normally siloed. So CPU monitoring is a metric that you're monitoring versus memory monitoring is a different metric. And these data don't have a contextual relation to that. On top of that, your application monitoring can have a different data. Your network monitoring can have a different data. So the teams that are handling application, database, or network, they have their own tools with their own data, which will not have a contextual correlation to give you a uh, understanding across the domain. Cross-domain information is a challenge. Whereas in proactive method, we can have integrated data. So integrated data will be able to create a relationship. Let's say CPU 90% and memory 80%, then send me an alarm. Not just CPU 90 or not just memory 90. I can correlate multiple things. Then comes proactive actions can be taken in the sense of like if you predict something that, okay, transaction logs are going to be fulfilled, the disk is going to fill in next 3 days. How can I take an action right now? So this problem, service down or server down, this problem itself will not happen. Your thought process when you are dealing with monitoring, which is a reactive mechanism, what happened, when did it happen, these kind of thought process mindset will be there. Whereas when we do observability, which is a proactive predictive automated method, there we understand why it may happen or how can it be prevented. This kind of mindset grows up. So in monitoring, which is reactive, in that the mean time to repair is always slow because you're waiting for the problem to happen to take an action. Whereas in observability, we have a full stack visibility across the domain, as well as we don't let the problem itself to happen. We take the action before the problem. So very clearly observability, which is proactive, predictive, and automated, that is the way to go. That is the next generation of monitoring. Now, in this full stack observability for proactive IT management, how the solution flow goes. So the end goal is to give a better digital user experience from application, infrastructure, network, and security, which is running as a backend. To achieve this better digital experience, we call it as DEM, Digital Experience Monitoring. To deliver this, we have a particular flow. So the goal is to give improved customer satisfaction, streamlined IT management with processes. That means you just don't rely on people or smart people because smart people come and go in IT, but a smart process stays for the organization. So we have to streamline the IT management process and continuous service assurance because we are going to achieve, let's say, ISO, PCI, GDPR, whatever the regulation you are going to achieve, you have to prove that this is your streamlined IT management process and this is how you achieve things, this is how you store data, this is how you manage the things, this is your SLA. To achieve these things, the basics, we start with how do we onboard the assets, devices, application, databases, or whatever comes in your infrastructure. How do we onboard them? CIs, CDs, everything. How smartly we onboard them. Why that is one of the major point, because IT is not static. IT is growing. IT is always it's a dynamic process, right? You move things, you commission, decommission, you grow the things, infrastructure grows, shrink. Today you have physical, then virtual, then cloud, hybrid, everything. It's not a static thing. So When you have a dynamic IT and distributed IT, that means you may have multiple branch offices, multiple teams dealing with different kind of access. So when you have this kind of complex IT infrastructure, there should be a smart way to onboard and understand the changes happening in your IT to give an efficient monitoring and identify a better fault management if there is a fault, and then create an effective automation to ensure the security as well. So this is how the flow goes. And eventually, when we achieve this onboarding, monitoring, fault management, automation, and security, then automatically we will end up delivering improved customer satisfaction with a particular streamlined IT management process.